Basically, young men and young women are going to be sent off to a foreign land, sent to their deaths for Israel. Because Trump decided it was more important to attack the Ayatollah, supreme leader of Iran, than to give Americans jobs and address the economy. See, the supreme leader is like their spiritual leader. Well, he is their spiritual leader. I was going to say he was like the Pope, but those are two different religions. But, you get the gist of what I'm saying. I was going to say that, you get the gist of what I'm saying. If the Pope was assassinated, what would be the reaction by the United States if the Pope himself was assassinated by a foreign country? What would be the reaction? It's the same for the Ayatollah, supreme leader of Iran. It's the same. It would be the same reaction if the Pope Leo was assassinated. Trump has been gaslighting the American public since he took office in January. And once again, he is gaslighting the American people as for the real reasons he committed the United States of America into another endless war with the Iranians. Netanyahu, and he said it himself, this has been a dream of his for 40 years. This has been a dream of Netanyahu's for 40 years. And now the question becomes, is Trump being blackmailed by Netanyahu? Trump campaigned on the promise made to the American people that he would not enter into another foreign war. And here we are once again in another forever war, a war of aggression against a country that did not pose an imminent threat to the United States. But there was an imminent threat against Israel. That part is true. But the excuse that the Trump regime is giving the public is, if we had not attacked Iran first, Iran would have attacked us. But that's not true as it relates to the United States. There was no imminent threat against the United States by Iran. I heard they were in negotiations prior to the United States attacking Iran. I heard there was negotiations between the two, between the Trump regime and the Iranian regime. Last year, Trump told the American public that Iran's nuclear program had been completely destroyed. Last year, in the summer, he told the American public that Iran's nuclear program had been completely destroyed. He lied again on February 28th. He lied again on February 28th about having to attack Iran because they were building weapons of mass destruction. This was the same exact lie told by George Bush, that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. But the only difference is Congress had approved the war against Iraq. There was no congressional approval for the war against Iran, which makes it an illegal war. And this is a violation of the Constitution. And for this very reason, Trump should be impeached. But he won't be. He won't be. For this reason, he should be getting impeached, but he won't. Now, those are my personal opinions about America's role in this war against Iran. Those are my personal opinions. It should never have happened. It should never have happened. Most of the American people disapprove of this war against Iran. These people, they're not going to surrender. I'm telling you, they're not going to surrender. You're not going to be able to drop enough bombs to get those people to surrender to you or to play ball with you. It doesn't matter whether you bomb their entire country. They will not surrender. This is not the 1970s. This is not the 1980s. You have committed a war crime when you bombed a school and killed over 165 girls along with their teachers. You have committed a war crime. They're not going to negotiate with the United States moving forward. I would not be surprised. It would not shock me that any one of these U.S. cities, it would not shock me that any one of these U.S. cities is hit by missiles. It would not shock me. Or hit by a drone. And I'm talking about a major U.S. city. It would not shock me if one of them got hit by a drone or even a missile. And you don't know. You don't know. You really don't know what will happen. Because even though Iran is on the other side of the world, you don't know whether they may have a type of weapon. And I'm talking about not just drones, because a drone can reach a U.S. city. I'm saying you don't know if they may have a type of weapon, a type of missile. You don't know. Now, I'm not, an expert when it comes to things of this nature. I'm not an expert when it comes to warfare and, the types of weaponry that these countries have. And I'm not an expert on that. You got to go to another channel if you want to learn what type of missiles may be able to reach a U.S. city on the coastal line. You got to go to another channel for that. I don't know. But I do know that drones can reach a U.S. city. A drone can reach a U.S. city. I'm going to talk to you today about biblical prophecy, because it is very important that we understand what time we are living in. And America is Sodom and Gomorrah. America is Sodom and Gomorrah in the present day. There's some of the same things that were happening in Sodom and Gomorrah. Well, all of the things that were happening in Sodom and Gomorrah is happening here in the United States of America. And I'm gonna pull up some scriptures now. Ezekiel chapter 16. I'm going to start there. Ezekiel chapter 16. Okay, and I'm going to start at verse, and this is the NIV version. This is the New International Version that I will be reading from today. Well, I'm going to start at verse 44, and then I'm going to go to the King James Version as well. Okay. Everyone who quotes Proverbs will quote this proverb about you. Like mother, like daughter. You are a true daughter of your mother. You are a true daughter of your mother who despised her husband and her children. And you are a true sister of your sisters who despised their husbands and their children. Your mother was a Hittite and your father an Amorite. Now, this historically is about Jerusalem's judgment. This is about Jerusalem's judgment and punishment by God himself. And God compared Jerusalem during that time. He compared Jerusalem to Sodom during that time. And now he was talking to Jerusalem. This is historical biblical text that I'm reading from here. Everyone who quotes Proverbs will quote this proverb about you, like mother, like daughter. What I'm telling you is America is like Sodom and Gomorrah. America is Sodom and Gomorrah. America is Sodom and Gomorrah. When I look around me in Atlanta, I mean, you can see the corruption. You really can see the corruption and feel the darkness of this place. And it's everywhere. It's not just Atlanta, it's everywhere. It's Los Angeles. It's everywhere. It's Miami. It's everywhere. You can feel the darkness and you can see the corruption all around you. It's sexual immorality. I mean, sexual immorality. And I'm not just talking about the LGBTQ plus community. I'm talking about straight men, heterosexual men who are sexually immoral. And then you got a lot of pedophiles too. You got a lot of grown men who molest, rape, sodomize children. Grown men who sodomize boys. The word for that is chomo. That he's a chomo. CHOMO. Boy on men on boy. Men on boy. That's a chomo. Men on boy. Chomo. You got a lot of pedophiles in this place. A lot of sexually immoral persons. A philanderer go from woman to woman. That's a philanderer, somebody who goes from woman to woman. Every time you look around, they with a new woman. And y'all know what I'm talking about. These men in Atlanta, Georgia, they move from woman to woman. Every time you look around, they got a new woman. They won't settle down and get married to none of them. They got a new woman. Then you got a lot of folks, they don't see nothing wrong with having multiple women at one time. You got a lot of folks like that. They don't see anything wrong with having multiple women at one time. You got a lot of swingers clubs too in Atlanta, Georgia. See, there are stories floating around about some of these Atlanta celebrities like T.I. and Tiny. And there are stories floating around about those two. And I'm not going to repeat it. But there are stories floating around about those two. You got a lot of couples out here that swing. There are stories floating around about a lot of celebrities. It ain't just T.I. and Tiny. It's a lot of celebrities. Got a lot of swingers clubs, a lot of strip clubs in Atlanta too. See, Christians are called to come out of that lifestyle. Christians are called to come out of the world. Be ye separate. Be ye separate from the world. Touch not the unclean thing. Christians are called to be separate from the world, not engage in the sins of the world. Christians are not supposed to be at the strip club. Christians are not supposed to be at the swingers club. Christians are not supposed to be involved in man on boy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Christians are not supposed to be involved on men on men. Now, this is not giving anyone permission to be a homophobic. What I'm saying is not giving anyone permission to be a homophobic. I'm not giving you permission to be a homophobic. I'm not giving you permission to walk around here hurting and harming people that are same-sex preference. I'm telling you that it is sexual immorality. And I got to be honest when I tell you this, because if I don't tell you the truth, you know, I feel somewhat responsible if you die in your sins and go to hell. So I got to tell you the truth. Christians are called to be separate, to be separate from the world. And I mean, come out of the sins of the world. Christians are not supposed to be doing everything the world is doing. I'm going to finish this verse here. Everyone who quotes Proverbs will quote this proverb about you: like mother, like daughter. You are a true daughter of your mother, who despised her husband and her children. And you are a true sister of your sisters, who despised their husbands and their children. Your mother was a Hittite and your father an Amorite. Your older sister was Samaria, who lived to the north of you with her daughters, and your younger sister, who lived to the south of you with her daughters, was Sodom. Samaria was a city in the northern kingdom. It was the capital city in the northern kingdom of Israel to the north. And then, Sodom was a city to the south of Jerusalem. You not only followed their ways and copied their detestable practices, but in all your ways you soon became more depraved than they. As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, your sister Sodom and her daughters never did what you and your daughters have done. See, Sodom was a place where the men of the city were raping other men. And not only that, they were raping, sodomizing women and children. And two angels came into the cities. Two angels came into the cities to see what was happening in the cities. And there was a righteous man named Lot that lived in Sodom. He had a family. He had two daughters, and the daughters had two sons-in-law. Well, I'm sorry, the daughters had they had husbands, I think. You know what? Let me look it up. I don't want to just be I'm sorry, y'all. I had my mute button on here. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me just back up. Let me just back up to what I was doing because I had my mute button on. Okay. Okay, here we go. Because I had lost my mic had went out earlier. My mic had gone out earlier, y'all. I'm sorry about that. I had the mute button on the whole time. Okay. Now, let me just back up because y'all didn't miss nothing. I just came over to Genesis chapter 19. Really, you didn't miss too much. You really didn't miss nothing. What I was saying earlier is let me just make sure that I get you the right information. I don't want to be doing no guesswork. That's what I said earlier. The one part where y'all probably did not hear me say that. Let me go ahead and just get some verses for you. Let me look it up right quick and get you some verses because I don't want y'all to have the wrong information. I want to be able to give you all the right information today. Okay? So I decided to come on over to Genesis chapter 19. Okay? And we're going to start at verse 1. And there came two angels to Sodom at evening. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself to his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold, now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night. And wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early and go on your ways. And they said, Nay, but we will abide in the street all night. They said, No, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. These were young men and old men who surrounded Lot's house. They surrounded his house. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, Where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out unto them, and shut the door after him. And he said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you. And do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. The men, young and old, in the city had pressed upon Lot, demanding Lot to bring the two men that entered his home out unto them, that they may know them, that they may sexually abuse them. That's what it means. That they may sexually sodomize them, that they may sexually rape them. See, to know them intimately, that's what that means, that they may know them intimately, sexually. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known man, even though his daughters who were virgins, they were married to two men, but they had not yet consummated the marriage sexually. And they said, stand back. That the two men said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow, they said, I'm sorry, not the two men, but the men of the city, young and old, they said, stand back. They told Lot to stand back. They said, the old men and the young men in the city said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow, they talking about Lot, This one fellow came in to sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand. The two men that were in Lot's house put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. See, Lot's daughters, they were married because Genesis says they were sons-in-laws. They were sons-in-laws, meaning they were married to his daughters, but they had not yet consummated the marriage. They were still virgins. I'm talking about the two daughters. They were still virgins. They had not known man. They were still virgins, even though they were married. Okay? So I just wanted to make sure I had that information correct. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou any here besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spoke unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters. Which married his daughters. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters. And they said, which married his daughters, and said, up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this place. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his sons-in-law. Okay. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of the city. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So Lot's two daughters were married, even though they had not yet known man, which means they were still virgins during that time, at that time. And Lot took his wife and his two daughters and fled the city of Sodom. And the two angels that came there, they destroyed the city. They destroyed the city and the plain, that whole area, Sodom and Gomorrah, because those men in the city, the men of the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, they were sexually immoral, and they sodomized men. I'm talking about the men, young and old, young men and old men in the city, sodomized men. They also sodomized and raped women and children. Okay. Listen. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And it ain't going to be too many people that are going to be happy about the things that I'm saying today. It ain't going to be too many that's going to want to hear the truth. Because when you are living in sin, you don't really want to hear the truth. You don't want anybody telling you anything. You feel like, it's your life, it's your body. You get to do what you want to do with your body and your life. But see, there are spiritual consequences behind everything that you do with your body and your life. And Atlanta is a very sexually immoral place. It is very just decadent. It is a very decadent, sexually immoral place. It really is. And you, as a Christian, you have to really be strong. You have to be strong in the Lord, that is. You have to be strong in the Lord. Because if you are not strong in the Lord, you will be caught up in the iniquity of the city. You will be caught up in the sins of the city if you are not strong in the Lord. And if you are not truly someone who loves the Lord, and if you're not truly someone who is born again of his spirit, you will be caught up in the iniquity of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is America. This whole place is Sodom and Gomorrah. We are living in the last days, and according to the Revelation, these are the days of the coming of Jesus. According to the book of Revelation, according to the book of Matthew, according to the book of Luke, we are living in the days of the coming of Jesus. And I want to also take you to Matthew. I want to take you to Matthew right now. Matthew chapter 24. And then I'm going to go back to Ezekiel chapter 16. Now, Jesus said, according to verse 4, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay, I think I need to back up to verse 24 in verse 1. I'm sorry, chapter 24, verse 1. I need to back up to chapter 24 and verse 1. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him. His disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Now, this particular verse in chapter 24, verse 2 was fulfilled in 70 AD when the Romans had destroyed the temple in Jerusalem. The Romans under Titus had entered the city in 70 AD and destroyed the temple. And the Jews were dispersed during that time after the Romans came in and destroyed the city and the temple. And verse 3 says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. The famines and the pestilences are diseases. They're diseases, plagues. And it shall happen, the earthquakes, the famines, and the pestilences, and all of this, it will happen in divers places, meaning various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Now, this entails a global persecution against Christians in the latter days. And we are living in those times today. Christians are being persecuted all around the world. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. The iniquities of this city, the iniquities of this country has increased. It has increased. Iniquity, meaning criminality, lawlessness, injustice has increased, because injustice and criminality and in lawlessness has increased. The love of many shall grow cold. The love for God and the love for people, that's what that entails, shall grow cold. And you can see it happening every day. You can see it happening around you. People hate God. People hate God. They hate Christians. They hate one another. People have changed. You can see it all around you. You know, you can feel the spiritual darkness all around you. And you can see that the world is changing. People are changed. People are changed. Now, because Trump don't want to address the real issues of this country, he doesn't want to address the real issues, which is the economy and jobs. He ran on the campaign promise of bringing jobs back to the United States, but instead, there are more jobs that have been lost during his second term than there ever was under Joe Biden. There are more jobs that have been lost under his first year in his second term than there has been ever. This hasn't happened under Joe Biden. This hasn't happened this hasn't happened under Obama. So instead of bringing jobs back to America, instead of job creation, instead of affordability, instead of making policies that will put more money into the pockets of Americans, working class poor, instead of doing that, these people are going to send young men and women off to die for Israel. There is a possibility that there will be a national draft imposed once again. You know, the AI technology is taking away people's jobs. Everything is so much more expensive. The gas prices have risen as a result of this war, this unlawful war. The gas prices have gone up again. There are less and less jobs due to AI, and instead of addressing those issues, the jobs that young men and women want, which pays them a livable wage, since people are complaining about there's no job opportunities, there's few job opportunities for young people. Instead of addressing those issues, the issues with the economy, the issues with affordability, things are so much more higher. Instead of addressing that, they're going to just send young men and young women off to war, to work for the United States government. And if they die, they're going to say, well, they served their country, which is what they were supposed to do. That's what they're going to say. They served their country, which was their duty. Meanwhile, forcing these young men and women to go die for another country, Israel. Don't want to give these young men and women real jobs in public life. I mean, in civilian life. No, don't want to do that. But want to send them off to war to die for Israel. Okay. I just had to go on my little rant. And yeah. Okay, let me continue in Matthew. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. The Lord Jesus Christ is coming back, and he's coming back to snatch away a people, those without a spot, a wrinkle, and a blemish. A holy nation, a peculiar people. He's coming to snatch away a holy nation, a peculiar people, those without a spot, wrinkle, and blemish. And, and the end shall come. Because the church, I'm talking about the body of believers, those who are snatched away in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, according to the scriptures. Those who were snatched away, they will not be here. They will not be here at verse 13. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. They will not be here after verse 13. After verse 13. I'm sorry. I had to clear that up. After verse 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So after verse 13, the church, those that were snatched away in the twinkling of an eye, will not be here. Because verse 14, it will be a time of tribulation upon the world. It will be a time of tribulation upon the whole world. There will be a 7-year reign of Antichrist. That is the 7-year tribulation. But in the midst of the 7-year tribulation, the 7-year tribulation, the Antichrist shall reveal himself in the temple of God in Jerusalem. That is where he will go. He will stand in the temple of God in Jerusalem, according to verse 15. And when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, and let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. The Antichrist shall stand in the temple, by verse 15, in Jerusalem. It will be a rebuilt temple. It will be rebuilt. In the first 3.5 years, during that time, it will be rebuilt in the first 3.5 years of the 7-year tribulation. And in the midst of the 7-year tribulation, after 3.5 years, that is when the Antichrist, whom Daniel referred to as the abomination of desolation, that is when he will stand in the temple in Jerusalem and declare himself to be God. And the whole world will follow him and will worship him, according to the book of Revelation. Y'all better wake up. I don't care if the FBI is listening to this broadcast. I do not care. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. And a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. They will turn away from their truth. They will turn away their ears from the truth, because they don't want to come out of sin. They don't want to stop fornicating. They don't want to stop living in same-sex unions. They don't want to stop living in the sin that they are in. They don't want to stop going to swingers clubs in Atlanta, Georgia. They want to continue to be a philanderer, go from woman to woman. Many people, they want to continue to be a philanderer, go from woman to woman. They want to continue to have multiple relationships with different people and create children by different people. They don't want to come out of sin. They don't want to come out of that lifestyle. They don't want to come out of the world. I mean, come out of the sins of the world. Let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 16, because I want to bring something else. I want to bring something else up, and then I'm going to end this live stream. Okay, Ezekiel chapter 16. And we're going to go back to verse 40. We're going to go start at verse 49. Okay. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness, which was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. And they were haughty and committed abomination before me. Therefore I took them away as I saw good. And the Lord was saying he took away Sodom because of the pride of the city, the pride of the people. Pride, fullness of bread, and abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy, which is something that the United States does. They do the same thing. Now let's go to the New International Version. Okay, New International Version, Ezekiel chapter 16. I'm going to start Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty and did detestable things before me. Therefore, I did away with them, as you have seen. And that's what happened. That's what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah. Full of pride. They were arrogant. They were overfed and unconcerned. And they did not help the poor and needy. And they were haughty and did detestable things before me. Now, I'm going to go to another version. Let's go to New English Translation. Okay. Ezekiel 16 and verse 49 again. See here. Okay. It says, see here. This was the iniquity of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had majesty, abundance of food, and enjoyed carefree ease. That's the United States. But they did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty and practiced abominable deeds before me. Therefore, when I saw it, I removed them. Okay, what is the word haughty? Let's look up the word haughty. Haughty. I want to know what that word means, haughty. Okay. I want to know what that word means. Haughty. Mm. Mm. Yeah. I want to know what that word means, haughty, right quick before I end this live stream. Okay. Okay. I really want to pull it up. Oh, okay. Haughty, blatantly and disdainfully proud. That's what the word haughty means. It means yeah. I just want to make sure. I want to pull it up and make sure and show you. Haughty, blatantly and disdainfully proud. Having or showing an attitude of superiority, or contempt for people or things perceived to be inferior. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it means. In other words, a haughty person is somebody who thinks they're superior to other people. They think they're better than you. No, those are the types of haughty individuals. And you may know a person like that in your own life. They think they're better than everybody else or better than you. And it's a lot of people like that walking around here in Atlanta, Georgia. A lot of people. They think they're better than you. President Trump thinks he's better than other people. He has that superiority complex about him. He has, that haughtiness, that arrogance, and he's going to send your kids off to war. He's going to send folks' kids off to war to die for Israel. And it is downright ridiculous that America is in another forever war. It really is. It's really sad. But understand that everything that you see happening right now is biblical prophecy. Is biblical prophecy being fulfilled right before your very eyes, and you have to know what time you're living in. And that's why a lot of people, they walking around here, they're terrified of what's about to come, and they're scared and worried. And when you know the truth, when you know the truth, which is what I have been taught. When you see the truth according to the Bible, you know what time you're living in, and you're going to be less worried and less stressed out or less terrified, because you know that this is the judgment of God upon the world, upon this nation. You know that this is the judgment of God upon this nation. Whew.